to Earth and beyond. Thank you. It's now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Pedram Soltani. He's the Vice President of the Iran Chamber of Commerce, Industries, Mines and Agriculture. Obviously from Iran. He's a specialist in the modernization of Iranian business communities. He has leading governance roles and is deeply involved in industry organizations and strategic sustainable development goals. Please welcome Dr. Pedram Soltani.
Thank you very much, Peter. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor and privilege for me to be present and speaking at such a prestigious event in the beautiful city of Sydney. So I want to bring you from the space down to the earth, but not going to the farms on a macro level, speaking about the role of the chambers in sustainability. So the topic of my subject is sustainability from initiative to harmonized services. In my speech, I'm going to have a quick review on the evolution of the chambers throughout their life and when they paid attention to the society as a platform for performing their role in sustainability. And afterwards, I'm going to introduce some steps or a model by which chambers could become more instrumental and productive in performing their roles in sustainability, as well as organizing the private sector to ensure that they work in a sustainable way. So just a quick review. We all know that the players of sustainability are three entities: governments, private sector, and the civil society, and they have all got their... Is not good? Oh, yes. And they all have their connections with their subordinates and also their collaborations along the countries. But just look at the private sector section where I have categorized them into two major categories: MNCs, multinational companies, and also chambers. And by chambers I mean small and medium-sized enterprises, because in society-oriented issues, chambers should take the role of organizers of the private sector of small and medium enterprises, and they have this role, they can play this role, and I will explain you how. I want to show you a short motion graphic, which is my hypothesis of the evolution of the chambers, to find the footsteps of the chambers when they became aware of their functions in the society as a platform for sustainability. So please watch.
Chambers have passed 3 generations so far since their inception. Chambers in their first generation were mainly focused on maintaining private sector's relations with the government in order to create a better business environment for their members. The first generation of chambers could be labeled therefore as government-oriented chambers. Some of the main areas of focus of the Chambers 1.0 were trade and tariffs, taxation, labor issues, investment climate, and deregulation. In other words, the first generation Chambers' mission was to decrease business adversities for their members. The second generation of chambers could be called as member-oriented chambers. At the dawn of the 20th century, chambers realized that they could employ their abilities to provide more services to their members. They started issuing certificates of origin, authenticating commercial documents, dispatching trade missions, organizing business networking events, and giving training and education courses to their members. So the second generation chambers, Chambers 2.0, concentrated on building and increasing members' capacities. Since 1970s onwards, and following the development of corporate social responsibility concept, pioneering chambers started the evolution to the third generation chambers. As the representatives of the private sector, they deemed to be more responsible for the overall negative externalities of economic activities. So the third generation chambers became society-oriented. On this path, society-oriented chambers, Chambers 3.0, executed some initiatives. Some of them focused on CSR promotion, some partnered in environmental campaigns, others delved into youth enabling or women empowerment projects, and many others appeared more frequently in charity activities.
I'm not going to answer the last question I posed. I just wanted to make you reflect upon the next generation of chambers. But I want to conclude from this motion graphic two things. First, that chambers are now in their society orientation age. So that is the platform, of course, for having the function towards sustainability. And the second one is the distinction between Chambers 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0. The Chambers 1 and 2 used to deliver services to their members, but Chambers 3.0 are now delivering or working on initiatives. And the distinction between initiatives and services is that initiatives are not standard, not regular, not continuous, not still in high demand by the members. They are not unified. They can be performed in different chambers in different ways, and they are not disseminated, considering that we have several thousand chambers all around the world. So what to do to move from initiatives to services? We should take some steps, but before that I want just to draw your attention to this model, the so-called Rogers Innovation Adoption Curve, which shows that Chambers 1.0 and 2.0 are at the tail of this curve. That means all of their members and executives have already used to the services and they are acquainted and using them. But for Chambers 3.0, from the both ends, both Chambers executives as well as members, they are still in the beginning of their path. So we need to accelerate this pace in order to deliver services to the community and make it the next platform or the major platform for the chambers. So for that, we need to take some steps. First, we should know the capacities of the chambers and put our assets in improving them and using them towards sustainability. So the chambers are a pool of SMEs, collection of expertise, a database of products and services, and a club of entrepreneurs, and most importantly, a network of chambers all around the world. We need a framework for delivering services, but we have already the framework, fortunately, with the endeavor of our governments in UN. So the service that should be derived from these 17 goals of the SMEs, we don't need of the SDGs. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. We can use them as the origin of the services we are going to deliver to the community. I just told you the players of sustainability, and of course these are the stakeholders with which we have to work in order to define the services and deliver them. But I want just match that with the 3 generations of the chambers. So by saying that, I mean the chambers have already the expertise and skills in working with the government. They have the skill in organizing the private sector and working with the businesses, and they have started in communication and working with the society as well. So the chambers indeed are the most professional players, or could be the most professional players in doing their jobs in sustainability. But that is not the only thing. The chambers have networks in a country, in their regions, and globally. So we can use it as sustainability circle in order to work with each other, in order to unify the system of initiatives we are giving and transfer them into the services and then disseminate it in and around the chambers all around the world. But in order to be able to do that, we need to take some initial steps, and I'm going very fast because I'm short in time. I want to finish that. So the initial steps are we need to produce a guideline and a recommendatory document for the chambers, and I'm sure we can manage that through the work we can do in WCA, World Chambers Federation. And afterwards, each chamber needs to appoint a sustainability officer so that we can have a corresponding body in the structure of the chambers to create a common language between the chambers. The other step we should take is to learn from our experiences. We all know about industry clusters. So just remove industry and put SDG on top, and we can organize SDG clusters where small and medium enterprises can share interests, work together, and be organized through the chambers in order to be players of sustainability. And the last thing is that we need to work with the civil society. Unfortunately, civil society is not that organized or coherent or working together as the chambers. They don't have a network all around the world so that the chambers do. So the chambers can also include or just work with the civil society and embed them in the so-called SDG clusters so that the civil society, the NGOs, can work in a better collaboration with the chambers. So as my function, just I want to show you some of the initiatives which we have done in Iran Chamber. We have worked on, we have worked on rural sustainable development, which is corresponding to many goals of SDG. We are working on educational and development and inclusion, and that is also corresponding to 2 of the SDG goals. So we have done many projects on health and well-being and also building hospitals in Iran. Because of the water scarcity in Iran, we have done many researches, many initiatives, conferences on water, and again on green economy, and also innovation and startup. Just I want to conclude by saying that the chambers have all the skills and can, of course, by just focusing on a kind of model, the model which I have introduced, or we can continue this discourse between the chambers in order to organize the private sector, in order to make the chambers the pacemakers of sustainability in the private sector. So please, let's work together and become and make the chambers the pacemakers of sustainability. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Pedram Soltani. I feel really bad hovering around these people and sort of pushing them from the